Well, welcome back to our program and Happy New Year to you. We're glad you're joining us as we look into an exciting 2012 here on the Common Sense Show. I sat down over the holidays and looked at our figures and found just a huge growth in our listenership. I was particularly impressed by the fact that about 20% of our listenership comes from outside the United States. We've got a large listening audience in China, in India, in Thailand, and I'm sure some of those folks listen just so they can practice their English. And I'm not sure that my deep southern drawl, I don't have a deep drawl, but I got a deep voice, a little bit of a southern drawl, is going to be that much of an incentive to learn good English. But we're glad that you're listening no matter what your interest and what your reason being. Glad to have you here, and we're looking forward to a good 2012. Great weekend coming up in New Orleans. LSU, Alabama National Championship on Monday night. On the Saturday night before, the Saints in its first playoff game against against the Detroit Lions. So it's going to be, I'll tell you what, this weekend, if you were looking for a place to be, New Orleans is the place to be. You cannot get hotel rooms in New Orleans, about to sell out in Baton Rouge. Probably have to stay 100 miles away if you want to find a hotel. And if you want a hotel, there's a minimum of 4 days you have to pay. And I think the cheapest room I've heard of is about $250 a night. So huge financial incentives, huge economic development in New Orleans, and a great weekend to have a lot of fun, which it always is. I'll be down there, going down on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and of course for the championship Monday. We'll be broadcasting. Normally we broadcast at our flagship station in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, my hometown, Clear Channel's WJBO, and they've been a gracious host for us. We love to do it there. Since the BCS championship is going on, we'll be broadcasting live at WRNO, Rush Radio 99.5, another Clear Channel station out of New Orleans is where our show will be emanate from this weekend. And we take it on the road a good bit, and it'll be a New Orleans show this weekend. Presidential politics is secondary to the football, but in any event, I watched, as a lot of you did, the Iowa results from the Iowa caucuses. Wasn't a primary, it was caucuses. Wasn't a lot of votes. We had the victor, Mitt Romney, with about 28,000 votes. That's not a lot of votes to think that you're shooting to the top of the presidential election. Rick Santorum, just a handful of votes behind him, the former senator from Pennsylvania. I think I would tell you it's going to be very, very difficult for Romney not to get the nomination. He's not the most exciting, electrifying speaker, but he is a fairly solid, business-oriented guy compared to Romney, rather compared to Barack Obama, and I think he's electable because he is more centralist. I know a lot of conservatives are very upset that he's not much harder in terms of social issues as, say, Santorum is. And let me tell you about Rick Santorum. I met him at the Louisiana Leadership Conference, the Louisiana Republican Leadership Conference, where candidates from all over America came, and had a chance to sit down with the senator. Most personable politician I've probably ever met. Warm, friendly, talks about his family, very genuine. I don't think it's fake. I think it's very, very genuine. I like the guy. He's the kind of fellow you'd love to have at a dinner party or be a good friend. But I think his social positions are so far to the right that the independent voters are just not going to be taken by him in the general election. I just don't think he's electable. As a consequence, Romney, who maybe is more moderate in maybe his positions, is electable. And so there's going to be a lot of grumbling within the Republican conservative ranks over the fact that Romney's not their guy, but when they consider their alternative, maybe they're staying with Obama or going with Romney, I think they're going to go with Romney. So it's not a fait accompli. They're moving into New Hampshire, where it's a very strong area for Romney. That's where he's from, has a home in New Hampshire, governor in the adjoining state of Massachusetts. So he's going to be very, very hard to beat. We've had Santorum on this radio show. Governor Romney told me a couple of weeks ago he'd be in this radio show here in the weeks to come. We're looking forward to having him do so. But when all is said and done, I think you're going to see Romney getting the nomination and being a very hard guy to beat. 50-50 odds of beating Obama. Going to be a real Donnybrook as we come into the fall. Anyway, we got a good year ahead of us, a lot to talk about. We'll come on back and give you some more thoughts right after this message.